Police in Fort Lauderdale arrested several people for looting in the wake of Irma. Miami also had reports of looting. Joining us now is the mayor of Fort Lauderdale, Mayor Jack Seiler. How much looting was there in Fort Lauderdale, and what can you do about it?
Well, Stuart, there was a fair amount of looting, but I'll tell you what we can do about it. We can arrest them and we can prosecute them. Our police department did a fabulous job. We've arrested 19 looters, 2 residential looters, 17 business looters. And not only did we arrest them, but I think you saw what we've done. We've actually publicized the arrest of all of these looters, both on social media, through the media, sending the message: we will not tolerate looting. We will not tolerate people taking advantage of those that have already been disadvantaged by Irma. Okay,
now, last week you were on our program. You were girding for an onslaught of Irma. Well, Irma's passed. Can you assess the damage in Fort Lauderdale?
Stuart, we've been somewhat fortunate. I've been out, obviously, last night, through the night, again this morning, and we were expecting greater damage. We were expecting worse damage. Having said that, you know, there are still roads that are not drivable because of trees down, power lines down. We've got some flooding in some low-lying areas. But all in all, kind of similar to what you're seeing with the market this morning, I think Fort Lauderdale woke up much more optimistic than we went to bed on Saturday night. And so we're encouraged by...
You're right, Your Honor. Now, our viewers are looking at you and they can see the high-rises along the beach there in Fort Lauderdale. I take it that none of them were truly structurally damaged.
Correct, Stuart. The only structural damage we saw were some roofs and obviously some infrastructure, power lines, telephone poles. But from a standpoint of the structures of what's been built on the beach, a lot of them since Hurricane Andrew, we fared very well. Now, we've got some flooding, which creates some infrastructure issues on the first floor of some of these buildings. But all in all, we've fared extremely well. The storm surge was not what it was originally anticipated to be. The winds were less. So, look, we feel very fortunate here in Fort Lauderdale. We've got a lot of work to do to recover, but we're going to get there.
If some of the people who left Fort Lauderdale now want to go back, will you allow them to go back now?
Yes, as of 10 a.m. this morning, we lifted the curfew. So 10 a.m. this morning, the city has lifted the curfew. However, if they're on the barrier island, we're asking only those people that have to be there, whether for residential reasons or business reasons. We're not expecting any visitors, any guests, any gawkers, and certainly no looters on the barrier island, because we've got to get those roads cleaned up. We've got to get those intersections cleaned up. Traffic signals are out. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done throughout Fort Lauderdale, but more importantly on the barrier island.
Real fast question about Florida Power and Light. Have they given you any indication when the juice might be returned to Fort Lauderdale?
Stuart, some of the juice has been returned. We've actually had a few thousand homes already restored this morning. I've got a 1:30 call with the head of FP&L, so we're excited about that. By the way, Stuart, I know there's a lot of talk about these looters. If you want to interview any one of these 19 looters, we'll make them available for you because we know just where they are right now.
There's an offer I'm not sure we can refuse. Your Honor, I'm going to sum it up like this. I think you dodged a bullet. You agree with that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We've been talking about this for the last week as to how big a bullet this was going to be. This was one big, bad, intense, immense storm. But when it made its move over to the left, to the west, we dodged a bullet. I'm looking at Naples. Our hearts go out to the people on the West Coast, especially the Southwest Coast.
Yeah. I've got a house in Naples, Your Honor. I used to have a house in Fort Lauderdale. I swapped. Quite a swap.
Stuart, you should have kept the house in Fort Lauderdale, and we'd also make sure we protect it for you.
You're very kind, Your Honor. You're very kind. Thanks for being on the show. Great stuff, and congratulations, dodging that bullet. Thank you, Jack Seiler.